Probably the bicycle technology is probably the big one right now, but we are looking at as well at kind of smart city data networks. We've been looking at what they call the microcell towers that allow you to create really this data network around your community, so that if you get to the point where there are autonomous vehicles, you have a data network where they can actually talk to each other, where the car recognizes what the pedestrian's doing, and it recognizes what a cyclist is, it recognizes where it should be and where it shouldn't be. When you create that kind of network, it allows for new technologies to come online a little bit more seamlessly.
So can I ask you to explain that a little more? I haven't
Sure.
heard of this before. Is it, do you have to have like smart cars and stuff like that?
That is in theory, as those cars come online, and depending on who you talk to, you could get autonomous vehicles in the next 5 years. It could be 20 years. It's depends on who's predicting. But there are already actually autonomous shuttles being implemented in other cities. I just saw an article for one that's running around Columbus, Ohio. And we know that technology is out there. We know it's coming. We are a tech city. I mean, that's a big part of our brand. So we want to make sure that as that comes online, we can be one of the early adopters. We probably should be one of the early adopters. Making sure that that works it's not just throwing a unit out on the street and saying, go ahead and run around the city. It's creating a network where it is always connected to the data network that it needs to be connected to ensure that it's running safely, that it understands its place in the transportation network. Another big thing is it's as much a collaboration as it is a workshop. So 10 of our staff are going to get to travel to 2 other cities. Pittsburgh and Durham were the other 2 grant winners. And we're going to get to talk with other cities that have been thinking progressively about bike infrastructure and pedestrian infrastructure, and get a sense from them in terms of what's working for them, what hasn't worked. We'll learn some lessons from their experiences, and then have them come back here and we can talk a little bit with them about what we're doing. So I think a lot of that collaboration really helps. It helps us to learn from other cities, especially other cities that are like Huntsville, that are trying to have foresight, that are trying to solve problems before they become problems.
And the data network, that includes kind of just smart signals and things like
It
that,
is.
right?
It's even more complex than
yeah.
I can get into. But it really is about creating an area where you don't have dead zones, where you have this data coverage, so that if you're riding an autonomous vehicle, you don't necessarily want it to come into an area where it doesn't have any signal, or where it's no longer recognizing where it is. But that's just one aspect of technology. There's some that we already have implemented. Our traffic department has intelligent traffic systems installed in certain areas around town, where they can do real-time monitoring and tweaking of signalization to make sure the traffic flow moves better. But a lot of it is really focused on safety aspects.
It sounds so futuristic. A
It
little
does.
bit Big Brother-y? Like, what else can they do?
Yeah, I can understand that. Part of it is really just ensuring that anyone who wants to use the streets, whether it's cyclists, pedestrians, drivers, transit riders, we've even been talking a lot about the new electric scooters that are landing in certain cities. There are a lot of hurdles to overcome before they can be implemented in Alabama, but I think having a well-designed transportation network means that as we start to adopt new technologies like that, we can do it safely. The last thing you want is to have this adoption of this great technology and not have it work for people. We also know that especially pedestrians are vulnerable in a street environment, and we can look at ways to make their environment safer, whether that's physical barriers or technological ways to warn cars when they're approaching pedestrian areas. We want to look at all of that. I mean, we want to be able to embrace whatever kind of new solutions are out there.